just want to give a shout out to Chitty, who's blind, and Sonny, I believe is his name, is the new one of the new couples there with Via. Chitty and Sonny are fine. They're some good-looking young men. Just had to give them a little shout out and a little kudos. We know that Adnan is a model, but he has like a secret in his eyes. So I'm not going to give him love just yet. I mean, he looks like he's got some secrets and he withholds some information. So to me, that part's not fine. So let's get into our chat. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another 90-day recap chat. This time is before the 90 days, a spinoff of the original 90 Day Fiancé, which is a reality show that follows couples. One person from the US, one from another country. They have to, of course, go through regular relationship obstacles. On top of that, cultural barriers, language boundaries, all of these things take place, as well as the legal system as they try to navigate their way from being a fiance to being married. It is 90 Day Fiance. This time again before the 90 days. So let's get into this episode. We have Renee and Chitty. Chitty is blind. To me, Renee is a unique person. And she's now in his country. Finally be able to meet him after 5 years. Upset that he wasn't able to spend the night with her. He just felt that this wasn't the right time, is what he said. She said, maybe I am too much woman to handle. Now, if you've seen the previous 2 episodes, I do believe she is too much to handle, but I'm not talking about physically. She has a lot of, to me, some different issues, the way that she thinks, the way that she reacts to things. So in that way, I do agree she is too much woman to handle. But Chitty makes breakfast. It looks like it's a good day. Starting out day 2. And, he pulls out this knife and she's like, hey, she's covering his ears and face and like, be careful with the knife. He's like, I can cook and all of this as a blind person. So even she was impressed to see what he could do, his skills in the kitchen. It looks like they had eggs and maybe they had some other elements that are connected to his culture and his country. I don't know everything that was there. I also saw bread there as well, but some of the other items I was not familiar with. But again, she said the food was good and it's something that he enjoys doing. So then they go out to the market to get some food, and Chitty's sister accompanies them. And first, Renee is upset that Chitty's sister is there. She wants some alone time with him. So she feels like she's just cramping their style. But as they go through the town, she sees how much traffic, how the roads and areas are rough and rocky. The traffic is kind of crazy. So then she's like, I'm actually glad she is here to help us navigate. And she's like, yes, I'm trying to show her how to navigate and help him in the future. If they become a full-time couple, this is what she's going to have to learn, especially if she'll be staying here, I guess, for the time being in Africa. I think it's Lagos, but correct me if I'm wrong. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. So we continue with this couple. And once they go to she sees all these chickens and she's excited because she does raise chickens and sells their eggs. But once Chitty's sister's about to get these chickens, one of the chickens to kill and eat, she kind of loses it over the chickens. It's like, you're not going to do this to the chickens. And she just gets angry and upset and she wants nothing to do with the chickens. So they're asking her, well, do you eat chicken? She's like, yeah, but I don't want like the way that he picked up the chicken. I don't like the way he handled the chicken. Like he was just going to pick it up and just kill it. And she didn't want to be responsible for that. She didn't want to be a part of this. And she was just so upset. And she explained a little bit further to Chitty, but she's like, his sister was like, okay, I'll just, I'll let you guys wait here and I'll do some more shopping. And I guess she was going to probably get some more items, not in Renee's eyesight, so that she wouldn't have anything more to complain about. She brought them some fried corn while they chit chatted. She saw more chickens and she started picking them up and kissing them, which I thought was weird, to just kiss random stray chickens that are running around in a country you've never been to before. And then they were just, his sister as well as himself, they both were kind of surprised at the fact that, hey, she eats chickens but doesn't realize they have to be killed to be eaten. And part of me understands, okay, maybe you don't want to see the chicken killed before you, but if you're going to be eating the chicken, this is what happens. Now, if you wanted to step away and not watch the chicken be killed, understandable, but this is what this guy does all day, is kill chickens. This is how he makes a living. It's a little different than it is in the US, as far as you just go to the market and get one that's already packaged and it's already passed away. But this is how it is. So she has to, I saw somebody on Twitter say, because they show this preview multiple times, she has to get used to their culture, which is true. But if she felt like this was inhumane, but she still eats chickens, then she could have stepped away, walked away, asked them politely, could they do this another time when she was not there? I mean, she could have just handled it in a way where she wasn't really attacking his sister, because she really put a lot of the blame all on the sister. Again, she seems like she didn't like her from the jump just because that was his sister. So while they're having their chat and she's kind of telling them why she feels how she feels about the chickens, then he says, she's very special. Thank you for caring about me so much. And she's like, yeah, I want to do everything for you. She just sounds perfect. And he's like, yes, you are perfect. But what do you want me to do for you in return in this relationship? And she's like, hug and kiss and cuddle and all the things that I never got to do in my other relationships. So I guess she never really had any romance. And she was disappointed that they didn't sleep together the first night. I know it's been 5 years of courting, but come on. You're just meeting somebody for the first time. It's different when you're in their physical space. And I'm not understanding how people are sleeping together the first night they meet, even if it's been years together online. It's just a different element when you meet somebody for the first time. I don't see myself jumping in bed with someone. That's my lifestyle as well, as a person of faith, as a Christian. It's something I wouldn't do anyway, but I feel like most people in regular dating scenarios and situations, again, even if you talk to this person for years, the first day you see them, are you going to sleep with them? To me, I feel like it's a little bit, it shouldn't be an expectation that you do that. I would have to be comfortable even in this person's presence. Again, when you're in someone's physical presence, it is different. You have to get used to their vibe, their energy, their attitude, their actions, because being online and talking on the phone, you can kind of control things in a way, but you can't control as much in a day-to-day life scenario. You can't control your physical mannerisms. You can't control your habits and all these things. So definitely, it's not something I would like to do on day one and just throw caution to the wind. Speaking of throwing caution to the wind, that's kind of what Tiger Lily and Adnan did. But they did get the paperwork. They are married. But I got to finish with Renee and Chidi. So she's like, hey, you said we were soulmates. We talked about sex all the time. Or we talked about, I'll say, bedroom behavior all the time. And now you all of a sudden, I don't know if I told you guys this part. He basically wants to wait to have sex until marriage and, have that bedroom time after marriage. So she's telling him all the affection she wants. And he's saying, we have to wait till marriage. Now, I feel like you can be affectionate with somebody and you don't have to have sex. Of course, there can be limitations, especially for men. And men have told me that there are certain limitations that they might need because certain things make them want to have bedroom time with you, I guess. So there's certain limitations on how physical you can be with each other. Affectionate, I'll say. For some men, they say, we can only go so far because of my body may react, which can be understandable. But holding hands, maybe kissing, it depends. Pecks, maybe. Depends on the limitations of the man to see how far that he's able to go in that. But I respect, of course, his faith and how he feels about the scenario and situation. I see in a way where she's coming from, but I do feel like it's unreasonable to think someone should sleep with you the first night. Yet and still, again, I see where she's coming from as far as he said that they were soulmates since day one. It's been 5 years. But she feels that God has nothing to do with them getting married. They're already soulmates. It's the system that wants you to get that paper. So she has all of these other thoughts and feelings when it comes to marriage. And she doesn't want to wait to be in the bedroom with Chitty. That's kind of how their conversation ends. Now let's go get to Tiger Lily and Adnan. They got married last time, and she married into a Muslim relationship, and she seems very much like she could be an Instagram model or something like that in her 40s. He's in his 20s. When he actually got married in this episode, I'm sorry, but they were on their way to get married in the last episode. So the mom met her, all the brothers met her. The mom said she was happy, but she was surprised he wanted to get married so soon. It was a little bit of a surprise. But she said she felt that, Tiger Lily seemed a little bit scared as she was going to do her vows. And I guess you could be a little green. It's only been 4 months that you guys been talking. They've kind of rushed into their relationship. Her vows were translated, and it seems like she wasn't fully following what was going on, and she said she wasn't. She said some things in a different language that she probably doesn't know what she said. But the marriage took place, and it's all official. They are married. Adnan sped to the honeymoon spot, and he said this is the favorite night of his life. He's been waiting to be deflowered as a man. He's no longer a virgin because he follows his Muslim belief to wait until marriage. So the next day, Tiger Lily admits they did everything. She doesn't know how she's still standing. So that was just something surprising, but he's in his 20s, and it's something that happens on your honeymoon night, so I guess it's not really that surprising at all. She wants to get her hair done, and her stylist and her friend, she told them to take the day off, and she hired a stylist to come in. It happens to be a man. Now her new husband, who's had the night with her, is like super even more controlling, saying, this person's doing your hair. It's a man. No other man has access to you but me. And she's like, well, he's just doing my hair. So he's watching the whole time. He even puts a timer on his phone for 5 minutes left, like 5 more minutes, and he's showing him this phone as if it's the authority of God that he has to stop doing her hair in 5 minutes. I thought that was funny. And then they go meet more of his family members this next day, and they have like a big smorgasbord meal. She was asking him, why do some women have just their eyes showing and the rest covered, and then some ladies just may have their head covered? And he's like, well, it shows the level of respect they have for Islam and their belief system. And the mom kind of has her bangs out, which I thought was a little surprising. I haven't really seen that. And she also had sunglasses on her forehead. So it was a little bit different. They showed the men eating and the women eating. There was a stark difference. The men just putting their hands right in the food, just stuffing their mouths, while the ladies had spoons and forks and whatnot. And mom was putting more food on her plate. Everybody was putting all this food on her plate, and she was having to stuff her face in front of the family and act like she loved the food. And not to say she didn't like the food, but I could see how she was being overwhelmed. Everybody was meeting her. Everybody was happy and joining her in the family. She was trying to do her best to be kind and Mom even likes her and says, "Welcome to the family." Everybody's like, "Welcome to the family." They said, "We have a new family member." It was kind of wonderful to see how quickly they welcomed her in. Meantime, Agnon is being tossed in the air by all of his male brothers and friends, playing man toss or something. It's just fun. It's different and not what I'm used to seeing, but I enjoy the love that they have for each other. And it makes me think of a lot of other families, how they'll stuff your plate full of food, but that just means that they love you. The more food, the more love that they have towards you. They kept saying, "Eat, eat, eat, eat." She ate what they called a mansaf, and she found out that was a sheep, and she's like, "I don't eat sheep." "Well, you ate sheep on this day." He said it was fluffy as well. I'm sure he had jokes. All right, so we'll see more as the whole story unfolds, how she probably will have to assimilate more into the Muslim lifestyle. If she's getting her hair done, it's probably going to have to be covered in the future. So we'll continue to follow them as we continue to cover 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. Via and Sunny, a new couple. He is also Muslim. They show the pictures that they shared when they were talking online, and Via looked super filtered. He even thought she was a scam because she showed interest in him, but I would think she was a scam because they showed all these super filtered pictures, and maybe she has a complex about herself, but she looks fine to me. It doesn't seem like she should have had her pictures this super filtered. They're both shy, he says, and they kind of open up to each other. Finds out she was in foster care. She's built up a lot of anxiety behind that. He said he didn't have the greatest relationship with his dad growing up. And so that, he says they kind of connect in that way. He's okay with his dad now, but I guess he felt like a missing parent in his life. That's one of the ways that they connect. He did say sometimes they fight. She ghosts him at times, and the ex-boyfriend comes up that they're still friends, and he's kind of wondering why this is happening. He's a little jealous about it. He feels like it's not good. He's like, this is the strange thing in this culture, is that you're still friends with your ex, but from his culture, you hate that person kind of, and you're done with them. You're angry with them. You lose the fact that they exist from your mind, which I think a lot of us do that. I think there are a select few people that really have good relationships with their ex. It seems like more now than it used to be, but it's still, most people are not that good with their ex. So that's an issue between them. She says he even tracks her phone. He thinks she's cheating if she's in different locations. But he doesn't know this. She's on her way, but she invited her ex to come to his country with her. Just because she can't travel alone, she has a lot of anxiety. She needs backup. She can't be by herself in this different country. And if they start fighting, she has no one there. And it makes common sense, because even if you do love this person, this is the first meeting that you've ever had. You don't know what's going to happen. I do think it's good to travel with somebody and to have backup. I know many times people don't do that, what I see on this show. But when I think about it, the producers are there with the cameras. In a way, they can kind of be your backup. They're not supposed to fully intervene, but I do believe at times they have intervened. So if needs be, they're not going to leave you in harm's way. But this is a choice that she's making, to bring her ex, I guess, as if the producers aren't going to be there. But I guess you kind of have to do that for the show. So I don't think he's going to be very happy with that. All right, we have Brian and Ingrid, and Brian is in a wheelchair. He's a Superman type figure. He says he's basically able to do anything. They have this very warm meeting, and of course he's basically like, this chair doesn't stop me from doing anything. First thing he has her do is fit his hand controls onto the car. So he has hand controls that allows him to drive any vehicle, but she has to fit it on because he's not able to do so in this particular vehicle. And she's installing this for him. She's like a little surprised he needed help with that, because she keeps saying how independent he is. Now, it may seem like she's being a little insensitive about his situation. She cares about this person. She knows he's in a wheelchair. But as we continue, he needs more help with other things. They get to the hotel, he needs more help with different things. And he says it's kind of like a test to see how willing the woman is to help him. He takes half of his blue pill just in case something happens within the time that they're together. We're not sure if that's going to happen or not, but he wants to seem normal so he can be ready at any time if need be. So she takes a shower, then she ends up helping him get in the shower with his special shower chair, and he shows her this catheter that he has to use so he can go to the restroom. So it becomes really unsexy really fast, and I don't know if she thought that there may be um them spending some bedroom time together. Again, first nights, I'm not sure why these people are anticipating first night hookups. I know it's been years you've been talking to this person, but I just feel like weird about if I was in that scenario. Like, I would, the first night thing, I just say probably not. So if I was Brian, I would probably have let her drive, just put my chair in the vehicle, been as independent as he could be, just being on the passenger side. Also, I would just, maybe they're spending the night together. um I think that's a bad idea. I feel like maybe he should have got her own room and not expose her to too much. She felt overwhelmed because it was just too much that she was seeing, and too much that was going on, and different things that she had to do to help him, different things she didn't know about it. And he was like, well, most women, again, are okay with the chair, but all the things that come along with it can be an issue for them. And it seems like it's kind of going that way with Ingrid. As they get in the bed, she's turning herself away from him, which is a sign right there. And if he's like holding her from the back and kind of kissing her face, and she's kind of looking slightly disgusted, and told him to turn the light out. So I don't know if anything's even going to happen this night. And part of the issue, I think, is not that he needs the help, but he just constantly was asking for her for help back to back. And they didn't get a chance to build a rapport or connection just as people. It was just like she was helping. And even though they've been talking for 2 years, she still wants to have like a nice first date night with this person that she's been waiting to meet. And she's having to help him through the night. And it's just not what she anticipated or what she thought. Now, he should, to me, have come off by stating, and he says he wants to normalize this in the beginning, which makes sense. It's like, hey, just let them get used to who I am and everything that comes with me right in the beginning, so it's not a shock or a surprise to them. But in a way, you kind of didn't do that. I don't know why, when you guys were talking for 2 years, you kind of put your best face on. Again, it's a lot of control you have when you're online or on the phone. You just pick the times you talk. You don't see the day to day. Now you get to see the day to day in one day, and it can be a lot for someone. Again, not being insensitive to people that go through disabilities, and asking people the question, hey, or would you date someone with a disability? On here we have Chitty, who was blind. And I do, people were making comments about how they blur the camera up so we can kind of see Chitty's perspective. And they were saying, you don't have to do that. We know he's blind. But I kind of like that they do that. They did that in a previous season where the gentleman was deaf. They kind of changed the sound for us, or muted the sound at times. So I kind of like the way that they're doing that, to just kind of give us a taste of what they may be going through, their different sensory things. And I feel like it's a little artistic as well, but it's actually showing, a little bit of their perspective, even though, of course, it's nowhere near what they have to go through. It's probably more not so easy to do so with someone in a wheelchair. But it's like, okay, we're seeing people with disabilities, and you're thinking to yourself, would you be in that scenario, that situation, in that relationship? And I was talking to someone, and they were telling me that they were just not up for being with somebody that had a disability. And honestly, though, I don't feel that way, and at that point, I felt like it could be a little bit mean, but I think it's honest, it's truthful. It's something that if you aren't able to cope with that, if you're not able to deal with that, if that's something that you don't want in your life, it's understandable because that's a very personal, intimate relationship. But I do believe you should respect and help people with disabilities. If they come across your path, respect them, treat them kindly, and if you can assist them, please do. I've had experiences with people close to me where they have been very rude to people in my life that were disabled. So I don't like that type of behavior, and but I understand if you don't want to personally bring it home with you. Um, that's your business. If you don't want to be in a personal relationship with someone like that, again, that's your business. But you should still respect everyone in the public, and try to have a little bit of understanding. But yeah, in a way, I do feel like it can seem insensitive, but I also see where Ingrid is coming from, and I do feel like you shouldn't position yourself with someone that you don't think you can be with, because you're doing them a disservice as well as yourself. And they already have a lot of challenges that they have to go through, much less being with someone that really doesn't want to be with them, that may end up giving them a hard time in the future because of their issues. Don't just, I mean, you can say, okay, I will be with a disabled person, but once you actually get into that scenario, then you may find out that you can't do it, and it's okay to say I can't. At the end of the day, I think that's okay to say. um so that may come up, that may happen. Brian seems a little controlling, and it's like really telling her a lot of things to do to help him, which is fine, but it's kind of like your dad telling you to do these things. And it wasn't romantic, it wasn't like I'm helping my boyfriend, but it was like it was just different, and she felt the whole situation was weird in itself. So I can understand on some level her feelings, her thoughts. But again, we want to respect and love people with disabilities. I have people in my life. I'm also a cancer survivor. My body changed after that. So, I am different, and I understand the idea of being different and not being like everyone else, and in a way having some different type of challenges, maybe more social than getting around, but it's still a new challenge for me with my health, and have people in my life that have physical challenges as well. And once you have people like that in your life, you really have a different understanding of what it is to have a disabled person in your life. I've always been open to dating someone that's disabled. I've dated a couple of people in my life that were disabled, and in one scenario, I do feel that I was catfished. The person did not tell me they were disabled, but I already gained feelings for this person. And I say I would never throw anyone away. If it became too overwhelming for me to bear, then I would just have to be upfront with that. The other person, I knew from jump that they were disabled. We were fixed up, and I knew of this person, so I knew that they were disabled. So there was and they were pretty independent at the time as well. So it was just that they were different. I'm probably seen as different in society, but they were able to do a lot. Of course, they still had their limitations. So I myself have dated people that are disabled, and I would do it again. But I also say that we can have a interpretation of people that are disabled. We can soften them. We can make them seem like they're angelic, when in fact they're just people like you and me, and they can do you dirty just like any other person. And I've experienced that in multiple times. We even had a family friend that kind of played us, that was disabled as well. Their personality was kind of spoiled. So again, you can't just look at somebody being disabled and just say they're entitled to do whatever, because you're disabled. Of course, you still have to treat everybody respectfully. If you have ulterior motives, that's not good. I mean, you can't just do whatever just because you're disabled. Some people do feel like they can do that. Some people pull wool over people's eyes. But I don't want to put that over all the disabled population, but I do just want people to be aware that, yes, they're not all angels. They're people like you and me that have had life challenges that may be different on top of regular life issues. But they're just, in a way, they're very similar. They're just like us. They're just like everybody else. They're not in different class as people. They can still have negative moral values. But again, I do feel like anyone, they should be respected and assisted. If you can do so, please do that and show love to people of our disabled community always. And I think I mentioned this before, that I was kind of surprised when I was watching this YouTube channel where the people on there were disabled and they didn't want a disabled partner. They actually wanted someone that was going to assist them. And I really don't believe you should pick partners based on that. But being in their situation, I can't judge to say what they should do or shouldn't do. But it seems like on some level they wanted partners that were able to assist them. And in a way, it can make sense and be practical. But, as long as a person knows that this is going to be a part of the package of what they have to do and the expectations involved. But again, every disabled person is different. I'm not trying to put anyone in a box. There have been some negative scenarios, but there have been positive scenarios, and there's some beautiful people that are disabled, that are different. So I'm not going to put everyone in a certain type of category, because again, like, we're all people. We can have our issues. We can be beautiful and great. We can have issues and be messy, and we may be in a disabled package, but we are still all people. All right, I've talked a lot about that, but lastly, I want to get into Faith and Lauren. And they basically went back to her hotel, which is where she works. She got them both separate rooms. I mean, she's a boss. I mean, like, for Faith and Lauren, Faith is considered a lady boy because they live a I'm not sure. Maybe I should use transvestite lifestyle, because they are not able to go through gender assignment because of the country they live in and the belief system set there, that they don't legally have that available. And Lauren is interested in transgender people, so they seems like make a good couple. But for the fact that Lauren is kind of misleading, he doesn't have much. He wants to move to Faith's country, and kind of, to me, looks like he wants to live off of her dime. So it's a lot of suspect things with Lauren that I don't trust him. He says, we only got 20 days. I know that you want to move slowly, but we only have 20 days to figure out what we are here. Lauren, Faith does not know about his financial status and the fact that he wants to see multiple people and still be in a relationship with Faith at the same time. Doesn't sound good. Faith seems to be very conservative. They have had relationships in the past where it was all about sex. They really want something that's a real relationship. This is their first real date at the age of 30. And basically, Faith was saying, okay, foreigners have showed interest in me and said they like me, love me, want to be with me. When they found out that I was a lady boy, they blocked me. So I haven't had the best situation when it comes to love. Lauren had like a girlfriend test with like 40 questions, and Faith was not filling this test. And it was kind of funny, Faith's response to the test, and say, just rip up this test and go back to the US or whatnot. I guess it was taken as a joke. But yeah, to me, Faith is a boss. Has a room for themselves and a room for Lauren for at least 20 days. I mean, Lauren, you're gonna be living like pretty good for the next 20 days, and I'm sure this is part of what he was anticipating when he got with Faith in the first place. Don't trust your Lauren, and things are gonna come out as time goes on. But He's trying to rush things. He's giving her a test. And she really needs to give him a test because he got a lot of issues going on. I mean, we really need to ask these people these deeper questions. And sometimes people will still mislead you. They can say things in a certain way where they're not lying, but they're misleading you. So, sometimes we have to do some extra special investigation. Sometimes we have to push the issue because now Faith is in a situation where they have to figure out if they want to be with this person. Only got 20 days to do so. And, it's pretty messy. And I feel like it's really unfair. But all of that will unfold. The truth will come out. And we'll see what's going to happen as we continue talking about 90 Day, Before the 90 Days. Any thoughts, comments, questions, email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. All the best. God bless. Faith, love, and trends.